Hello, everybody. This is Tamara Childs with your October podcast 2019. We're going to look at the energies of October and just talk a little bit about how to make the best use of the month. And then, of course, we've got some tarot card pulls to, dive in a little deeper. So, welcome. So first, the astrology. We have a new moon in Libra just heading into October. So if you know where you have about 5 degrees of Libra, this is an area of new focus and growth. Now remember, we have 12 houses in the chart, and each new moon lights up an area of your chart with new beginnings. This is a pinpoint. It's where the conscious energy comes together with your feeling state, so that you begin to feel revved up and ready to go in a certain direction. You get excited or you feel activated to start something new. And it's about growth. It's about the planting the seed. So even if you don't know which house is lit up, you're going to feel it anyway. And that's what I love about astrology is it doesn't really matter if we're studying it, it's always in the works anyway. It's like a great big clock. And it's activating us and challenging us, and it is us. And as I always say, follow the energy. So what would that feel like? Follow what you are enthusiastic about. This is the growth the universe is naturally leading you to. Sometimes I refer to this as following a feeling of lightness of being. Follow your lightness of being. So pay attention to that this month. This ability you have to follow your instincts is an important one for October. Pluto is coming direct, and Pluto is the transformational it's the transformer for us. And remember, it's sort of like a bulldozer that is raising the old broken buildings in your life down to the ground right now so that you can start building something new. I've spoken about this before because it's happening right in front of us. It's focused on our government structures, you know, educational systems, healthcare, all the corporations and institutions. So pay attention to the structures that you have installed in your life up to date. And these are things you're going to be having reviewed. You're still reviewing them, and you're being encouraged to see the old and the moldy and the overdue. It's almost like, this whole Pluto Saturn transit reminds me of really having an old shelf in the basement with moldy old papers that are just, they've absorbed the moisture, and it's time for those things to be thrown out or burned in the stove. You want to burn those up in the fireplace. Pluto rules instinct, which I just mentioned. Now, there's a difference between conditioned fear that you have. Everybody's got fear conditioned somewhere in themselves. There's a difference between that fear and the instinct to grow, isn't there? When we're sitting in conditioned fear, we are basically sitting in the old stuff, and that's the stuff we have to compost. We've got to compost that fear so we can follow our instincts toward our desires. And that's why the soul is here. That's what we're all doing here, is we're following that light. We're following that growth pattern that our soul really wants. And so Pluto is making us aware of all the garbage. Pluto is asking us to not be afraid of our desires and to dig in deep to find what needs regeneration and rebirth in our lives. So if you can acknowledge your fears of letting go of that stuff, it's easier to let go and feel the instinct to follow a new desire. It's really about freedom. This is really a freedom transit, even though it feels like a little bit of prison time for some of us. It's actually about freedom. The doors are about to open. We're in the process of letting go of the things that we've used to imprison ourselves, the structures. And a lot of that's internalized, a lot of it's in our minds and subconscious. Another occurrence is the rising of Venus as the evening star, and this happens every 19 months. There's a cycle that Venus is on. This is a new cycle in love, your love life, your relationships, relating to yourself, the love you have for you, and the love you have for your own desires, and how you show up not only for your heart, but for other people in your life. All of this is happening just as this new moon in Libra is jump-starting the month. So this is a real relating and relational time. Remember that Venus also rules art and aesthetics, and in Libra, the art of debate, the art of compromise, the art of finding a balance point between two opposite points. So we are in the time of year where the sun is falling, and it's like the beauty of a sunset. You know, the sun is just on the horizon line. We're peering toward the horizon, and we're marinating on the beautiful life that we have and that we've created. And this is this beautiful lens to see others and life with right now. And so use this energy this month to create something new that wants to be created through you. You know, a lot, and I can't wait to get to the tarot cards because they really relate to this, but a lot of, sometimes we're just a vehicle for what wants to be created through us. And it's knocking on us. It's knocking on the door saying, do you want to be me to be created through you? So let yourself be the artist of your life right now, and don't judge the mosaic that you are, you know, because sometimes we have some broken parts, but we need to piece them back together and see all of ourselves as through a harmonious lens, and see what you want to create, because there's something very creative going on for everybody this month. This is what I'm getting for everybody. Now, fears about what you desire might be also coming up, and this is just part of the process. So don't cover over those fears with dead structures. It's like a pile of dead leaves covering nice new ground that you're ready to sink your shovel into. So clear off the dead stuff and begin your creation. Now, the cards I got for the month, of course, the first card I got is a restriction card. And I'm glad this was the first one, because this lets me know what I need to talk about that we might be clearing. And I got the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is a card of self-imposed mental restriction. It's a card of holding oneself in place and having fears coming up through the mind that are holding you back from even seeing new possibility. Traditionally in this card, in most of the versions, it's a woman who's blindfolded, but her, you know, and the swords are kind of like making this little fence around her, but she could walk out at any time if she would just take off the blindfold. And again, this is a mental card. This is a card of mental anxiety. So if you're having some anxieties, just know it's part of the process. Whenever we make a change, our being wants to go forward and the conditioned mind wants to hold back. And that this is part of conditioned mind, is feeling afraid of making a change. And it's just the activation of change that's in the air that is making you feel afraid. So if you know that, and you know it's okay, I have a little bit of fear going on, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to make the change. Now, the other card I got, one of the next cards, is the Empress. Now, the Empress is a wonderful card, of course, of birth. It's a card of gardening. It's a card of things coming forth through the feminine energy, through the earth energy. It's about the abundance inside of us and our resources that can literally just begin to create something new. And this is the central card that I feel for us this month. Um, Apparently, some of you want to create something new, and you're going to have the chance to do it. So this is an energy to really pay attention to. Don't let the fears hold you back. Let this desire, it's like a almost like a body level desire or impulse to create. Let that come forward in you. Let it be a passion for you, because you're going to find the resources showing up all around you. And also be aware of the friends who may be channeling statements to you that are helpful, the little bits of information you see that are helping you piece together the new reality that you're moving into. So you know, our guides speak through all these different ways. You know, it's you'll see on a sign, a traffic sign, or in a magazine, or on a show, somebody will say something. Just take note of the messages and the support level, because the Empress is a very supportive nourishing card to receive, and it's also a soul card. So it means your soul is providing you with all the resources you could need to make the changes you want to do right now. I also got the Page of Wands, and I like her on this card. This is a card of creating something new, possibly instigated by a fiery part of you or a fiery other person in your life. Somebody who's got a twinkle in their eye and they're like, hey, let's start a business. What do you think? Let's get together on this. So I want you to look for opportunities this month, or just be on the lookout, be aware that somebody may be coming toward you with some really good generative ideas for creating something. This is a highly creative card, so, and it often has to do with um, work that you've been constructing architecturally in your mind, and now your ships are starting to come in. You're going to start to see evidence that you've been already, creating this architecture, because people are going to suggest things and they're going to say, hey, I really see you doing this, or did you hear about this opportunity? So look for this very enthusiastic sort of fiery energy coming through. Um, Letting you have some new opportunities and pushing along this energy. Now remember, everything's created on the inside as a blueprint before it gets pictured out there. So this is something you've already probably thought about, you've been working on, and maybe it's just clicking into place through the events that are coming toward you this month. Now, last but not least, I got the Wheel of Fortune. What a wonderful card for us to get for October. I'm thinking forward to this Pluto-Saturn conjunction that's really getting us down to business and saying, really dig into where you think you're limited and where you need to move beyond. Where do you need, what's old and dead? What are you letting go of? And where are you moving into this new space in your life that you can be passionate and directional with, really self-directed? The Wheel of Fortune, if you've done that, if you have decided, sometimes it's just a decision to create. It's a decision to have that creation come into your life. Once you've made that decision, the Wheel of Fortune saying, your luck is up. Your luck is here. And this particular card is beautiful. It almost looks like it looks like it's a wheel, and it's gold, and it has a turquoise background. And it's like pointing, it also looks a little bit like a compass in this deck. So one thing I want you to know is that the energy of gold is one that I use a lot in my practice. It's in my new e-course, Understanding Empaths. It's all about gaining mastery over the levels of your psychic awareness and your sensitivity. And gold is an energy that each of us possesses, and it's something that you really want to access every day if you can, because it brings you into your power, and it brings you into your present moment and into your creativity. And this reading seems to be all about creativity, the creativity that we're all in, this Empress energy for this month, and overcoming and stepping beyond those restrictive mental patterns that we also possess. So, what else do I want you to know about this? I think that message is pretty complete for this October energies. I think all planets moving direct. I have to double check that, but there's a lot of forward energy this month. And remember that Libra is a cardinal energy. So you're going to feel propelled. You're going to feel this. If you look at the image that I have on the podcast title here, it's of this woman, she's rising. This beautiful woman is rising into the night sky, and she's got her scales, but she's not concerned yet about balance. She's heading somewhere, and she's very directed, self-directed. She's like a little beautiful rocket ship. So I want you to see yourself a little bit that way, as a beautiful little human rocket ship, that you're in a direction and you're just going to go for it this month. Can you do that? Can you just let yourself go for it, whatever it is? Because the enthusiasm that we have with this Page of Wands, this fire card, the Wheel of Fortune, the Empress, it's pretty much guaranteed that you're going to get what you want this month. So I am excited to have delivered this message to you. I never know what cards are going to come up or what's going to come through. I think this is a very special month. Keep an eye on your relationships. Keep an eye on the direction that you intend for your relationships. The love that you have, just know that there's some miraculous energy here that you can use to manifest for your love life, for your creative life, and for all things Venus and all things Libra and all things harmonizing. So that is the podcast this month. I would love to hear from you how you this podcast sank in for you. Please like and share this video. It means the world to me. And you can also leave me a comment, wherever I've posted the video. So take care. If you need to reach me for a reading, I always put my information in the links below so you know where to find me. And I'm wishing you a wonderful, wonderful October. Bye-bye.